Hi, I'm Krissy. I'm the owner of Focus Meds Pharmacy and Wellness, and I am here with Kimberly Bowman of So Exquisite Charleston Magazine. I am a native of Charleston. I grew up right here west of the Ashley in the Air Harbor subdivision. My family, my mom's family, and my dad's family are both from Charleston, but from different areas. So I have some family out in Red Top, and some family in Somerville, and some downtown. So my family spreads throughout the Charleston area. I graduated from St. Andrews High School, which is no longer. It's now West Ashley High, in 1998. And from there I went to Hampton University in Virginia, and I majored in pharmacy. And the reason why I majored in pharmacy was because I had a love for chemistry. When I was in high school, I was pretty good at all subjects, but chemistry, I like a challenge, and chemistry seemed to be most challenging for me, and so I think that's why I liked it more than any of the other subjects. So when I was thinking about a career choice, I said, what can I do that will combine my interest in people as well as my interest in chemistry? And I had an aunt that worked as a nurse at the VA, and she said, "Krissy, I think you should be a pharmacist." And honestly, I had never even thought about pharmacy, and I was like, what do they do? And she was like, "Oh, you'll love it. You know, you can combine chemistry and you can work with people, and you won't have to go to med school for 12 years. Because I originally said, "Oh, I want to be a doctor," but she said, "This will allow you to be a doctor, but you just won't have as long of schooling. And you can still, use chemistry." And I was like, okay. So I did a little bit of research, and I said, yeah, that sounds cool. And that's what made me decide to go into pharmacy. When I got out of pharmacy school, I had all intentions of being a lawyer. I wanted to work for the FDA and do patent law. So that I would actually be the one that approved drugs. That was my thing when I was in pharmacy school. Oh yeah, I'm going to be the person that, approves or disapproves new drugs that come out on the market. So when I got out of pharmacy school, I moved to Northern Virginia with the hopes of possibly getting an internship with the FDA and working retail pharmacy at the same time. So I never really got that internship. But I did go into retail pharmacy working for CVS overnights. And I liked it, but I could tell that the hands-on portion of pharmacy that I wanted, the ability to actually sit down and talk to patients, I wasn't going to get it working for CVS. So after working for CVS about a year, I was offered a position with Safeway Food and Drug, which was like a grocery chain. But at that time, they were bringing in a program for immunizations, where pharmacists, instead of just being behind the counter counting pills, we would actually administer vaccines. And they were having a really hard time getting pharmacists to come on board with that, because most pharmacists, especially ones that were older, they're like, "We don't want to give shots, that's not what pharmacists do." So when they decided to start that program, I said, hey, that sounds like something I'm interested in. It'll give me an opportunity to get from behind the counter and actually interact with the patients instead of just giving them medications. So I took a position with Safeway, and I helped to implement their immunization program. Absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. But my grandmother got sick back here in Charleston. And my mom told me, you may want to come back home, closer to home. So I moved to Charlotte, thinking, not quite back in Charleston, but close enough. Whereas if they need me, I can get home quickly and get back to Charlotte. So I moved to Charlotte for that reason and left Safeway and started working for Target. And Target was basically more the same as CVS, The pharmacist was serving more in a dispensing capacity. Not a lot of interaction with the customers. And I just felt like my career was getting kind of stagnant. You know, I'm just dispensing, not really utilizing any of the knowledge that I have of drugs, not being able to share that knowledge with the customers that I interact with. And so that's what made me realize, you know what, if you're ever going to practice pharmacy the way you want to practice it, you're going to have to do it for yourself. So I came to that epiphany while I was working for Target, and that was back in 2010. And since then, I've like been playing with it back and forth. I'm going to do this, but you know, you always have that fear, like, I'm not sure if this is the right choice. You know, you're in your comfort zone, you're used to getting a regular paycheck, you're used to having benefits, you know. So it took me a while to step out of that comfort zone and say, you know what, I'm going to have to take the risk as well as with the gains that comes with being my own business owner. So this has been like a 7-year process from 2010 up until now. So this is our patient waiting area. So if you are waiting to pick up a prescription, or even if you just want to come and hang out for a little while, this is our waiting area. We serve free drinks, free snacks, and we have a little peaceful water fountain to kind of relax you. And I have a 4-year-old, so she was determined that I had to have an area for kids, which has turned out pretty good because every kid that comes in here comes straight to this little area, has a spot to play. Right here, I decided that I wanted to feature a local business owner that may not have access to their own facility such as ours to sell their product. So this stand will always feature a local business owner's goods. Right now we have baskets by Basket Obsession. The owner of that business is Melissa Gilliard. So these are her products for Easter. And we'll feature probably a different local business owner every month. And this section of the pharmacy is for our DME, which stands for Durable Medical Equipment. So we have things like canes, walkers, compression hose, braces, things of that nature. This is our vitamins aisle. So for patients that are looking for natural products and things to improve their health using natural vitamins, that's what this section is. And the rest of this is our entire OTC product line. So this would be for self-care needs, such as cough, colds, allergies, eye issues, what else? Cuts, scrapes, bruises, things of that nature. Yeah, well, I'll tell you, just getting to the point of opening the doors was rough. But I've always been a believer that anything that's a challenge to me is worth fighting for. So the challenges that I originally thought I would face were more so related to the practice of pharmacy itself, like getting approved with the board. But then I realized that there were other challenges that came along with it, the things that you don't think about, like, oh, there's a leak in the ceiling, or, you know, the electricity in the building isn't wired right. So those types of things, construction challenges, proved to be more of a challenge to me in opening the business than the challenges that I really thought I would face, like actually getting my licenses and approvals from the board. But once the doors open, all I can say is I feel like it was all worth it. It's all worth it. Even though the challenges continue, just the opportunity now to serve people and to do it my way, it makes all of the burdens worth going through. It's been an awesome experience. It's been exactly like what I thought it would be. You know, I get to interact with people all day, every day, and not just people, but my people. you know, people that I grew up with, people that raised me. It's just awesome being able to give back, you know, in this way. And just the comfort level itself with the customers that I have is just awesome, you know, because like I said, these are people that I know. Majority of the people are either people that I know, or I know their family members, or I know their children, or I know their pastor. So just having that comfort level with these patients is just rewarding to me, you know, because you feel like you can do so much more and interact with them in a more personal way because you know where they come from, you know their background, you know the cultural things that they experience that may affect their health care, you know. So it's been very, very rewarding. It's been very busy, busier than I've expected, but that's a good thing, you know. That's what I want, so I'm enjoying it. And to tell you the truth, that was somewhat a fear of mine, you know. How am I going to be received? How am I going to be perceived? You know, especially being that I haven't lived in Charleston in almost 20 years. You know, I left here in 1998, and although I come back for visits and things of that nature, you know, my permanent residence hasn't been here in a while. So I had a fear, you know, of exactly what you're saying, like, where is she coming from, you know? Or even those that knew me, like, you know, so she came back just to start a business. But to tell you the truth, you know, the community has been overly supportive. And this is our compounding lab. In this area, and I can open the door. In this area, this is where we make custom medications. So if a patient is allergic to, let's say, a red dye, we would customize medication just for that patient without the red dye in it. So that's what this area is. But we have iPads on this stand, and I did this because when the pharmacy gets busy, sometimes patients may walk in and they'll see a line of people up there and they're like, you know, all I need is a refill. Well, we have it set up to where our patients can go directly to our website on the iPad, sit down and enter their prescription refills, or if they want to schedule an appointment to talk to the pharmacist, they can put it all in here and it automatically comes to our computers. That is. And they can also just come in and surf the web. We want to make the pharmacy as comfortable and for the patients as possible. So even if they don't have a prescription and they just want to come in and have internet access, it's free of charge. We'll bring you back here. And this is our actual prescription drug area where we have all of our prescription drugs. This room you and I were in, that's our patient services room. So we will do immunizations in there, as well as medication therapy management and patient counseling in that room. This area is our secondary compounding area. The first compounding area is for hazardous drug compounding, so drugs that if they are exposed to the environment can be environmentally hazardous. They're compounded in the first compounding lab. Anything that's non-hazardous is compounded here. And right here, this is just our hallway and restroom facilities. I don't know if you want to see that, but and back here, last but not least, we will offer patient education classes once a month on the last Friday of the month. And this room will be where we hold all of our patient education classes for small groups. They're free to the public and they will be on a variety of subjects. Our first class is April 28th and it will be at 6:30 p.m. in the afternoon, and we're going to talk about diabetes. And that's it. They realize that there's a need. There's a need for a Black healthcare professional that has access to the patients the way that a pharmacist does. I know, we all know, when you go to the doctor, usually you're in the office and out within 5 minutes. The time that a patient actually gets to spend talking to their doctor is minimal. But I think patients, when they come in a pharmacy, they expect, to be able to talk to the pharmacist. They feel that that pharmacist is accessible. And I think for that reason, being that I'm an African American, I'm a pharmacist, and I own the pharmacy, whereas it's not like a chain, I feel like patients are being more receptive to me because they realize that there's a need for me and more people like me, to serve them. Overall, and this is why I always told my mom, a lot of people go into business for money, and they think about the financial reward. For me, this business has never been about the financial reward. This business is about me fulfilling my lifelong goal to serve people. And just like you just said, giving back to this community. And to me, just me being here is a service to my community. I feel that financial reward will come from this for sure. But my major goal in opening the pharmacy is to serve, to give back to the community. And hopefully this is just the beginning. I'm hoping that opening this pharmacy will allow me to open more pharmacies. Eventually I want to delve out into North Charleston because I feel like that community is very underserved. I feel like, majority of the African American population in Charleston is now centered in the North Charleston area, yet there's hardly any black businesses there. So another one of my goals is to expand, and not just expand, like I said, for financial reward, but to actually serve the people and give them what they need. I feel that healthcare in Charleston, and not just Charleston, everywhere, there's a huge disparity. Lower income, lower socioeconomic classes get lower grades of service. Patients that have, government funded insurance plans, most of the time the physicians don't spend as much time with them because they feel like the reimbursement rate is lower. And frankly, pharmacies, I've worked for other chains, they feel the same way. Oh, that's a Medicaid patient. Oh, that's a Medicare patient. We're not really getting anything from that. So they don't feel the need to counsel the patient on the medication. They don't feel like it's important to make sure that the patient knows what time of day they should be taking the medication. Make sure the patient knows how the medication works. So my goal is to use my influence to really impact the entire Charleston community, not just West Ashley, but expand throughout the community and try to close that gap in healthcare knowledge especially. I feel like there's a major gap as far as what patients really know about their health and what they know about their medications. Most patients, if you ask them, what is diabetes? Oh, it's high sugar. Well, what does that mean? I don't know. I got a lot of sugar in my blood. I just feel like most patients, if healthcare professionals were to actually sit down and explain to them, this is what diabetes is. This is what happens when you have, a high level of glucose inside your bloodstream. This is how it causes you to have infections. This is how it causes you to have or eventually have glaucoma. I feel like if patients are more educated on their disease states and the medications used to treat them, they'll be more adherent to the recommendations that you give them as far as drug therapy and lifestyle changes. And I feel like, they'll feel more empowered to help themselves. So I guess I say all that to say my ultimate goal is to really have a huge impact on the overall healthcare outlook of the Charleston community completely. Not just West Ashley, but throughout Charleston. Eventually, if I could get to Somerville, I'll go there too. Whatever it takes to, change the outlook of healthcare in this area, that's my goal. I would say If I were talking to myself, follow your heart, not the money. That's what I would say. Because when I first thought about being a pharmacist, I loved chemistry, like I said, but I also always thought, oh, that's a lucrative career. And the more, now that I've been in pharmacy for some odd 15 years, I've realized that the money is not enough to carry you through. Money can't buy happiness. The part of this career that's most rewarding is serving people, seeing the impact that I have on people's lives. You know, I could be the richest pharmacist in America, but if I'm not changing anybody's life and all my patients are dying, this job is useless. I mean, to me, the what gives me the most satisfaction about being a pharmacist is actually seeing the impact that I have on people. Seeing people get off of their diabetes medication, seeing people lose weight and their blood pressure drop, seeing my patients come in here and say, oh, Krissy, I followed what you said and I feel better. Those are the types of things that make me feel fulfilled now. So I would tell myself for sure, you know, follow your heart, you know, and not the money.